Hi, I'm Klutz, and I, like many others, have probably been following Dave's Garage YouTube channel, where he's been doing a bit of retrocoding, and in particular building a very minute Windows, not a console application, a proper windowed application in C++ without any of the niceties of a nice IDE, and I've been following along. And when I got to the end of writing out my code, I found myself in a circumstance where it wouldn't build properly for me. So there was a little bit of troubleshooting to be done, and I just thought I'd share that process. Just give me one moment here. Okay. And so what I've got here is my code, basically written out the same as Dave has it in his video. And basically, the only real changes I've done is change the name of it myself and change the string that shows in the middle of the application. But apart from that, it's basically typed out just from watching Dave's video. So I'm going to spin it up to compile and go through some of the troubleshooting steps. So to start with, I'm going to jump across and we'll build the Visual Studio project that'll be used to just get all of our compiler options in the right order. So what I'm going to do is start a new project in Visual Studio Code, which will be a Windows desktop application. So if I go C++, Windows, desktop, here we go, Windows desktop application, C++. So in Dave's instance, I believe he's called his project Windows Project 1 when he's exported it, but in my case, I want my application exe at the end to have a different name. So I'm going to call my project a different name. There we go. So that will create up and essentially build out a fully frameworked together application for me. However, what I'm going to do now is go and find the main folder for that repo, which I should have here. We'll go into the project and we'll find the big folder of all of the things that makes up that project, except for the C++ source code file, which we already have. So I'll just copy all of those resources. I'll flick across to my other folder where I've actually got my source code loaded from. And we'll paste those resources in place alongside my C source file. And I will flick over to a command prompt here. And I will do a build clean and a build. And we'll get a number of errors. So I'm just going to work from the top down and go through them all. So first issue I have is on line 32. So I'll come back to my code, come down to line 32. So it's having some issues with the definition of this function, which I'm not entirely sure what's up there at this stage. So we'll come back to that one. Does no harm to go and fix your other errors first and then to walk back through. Let's see. next error is line 36, missing semicolon before 36. It looks like it's also tied up in that function declaration. Give you the code view as well. So yeah, that's referring to here. So this feels like this is a bit incomplete. So I'll come back to that. We might need to reference what the project is in Visual Studio. Actually, let's do that now. Let's jump across. So here's the code that's completely been filled out by Visual Studio itself. And if we look at the equivalent statement here, it's, let's see, it's called to wwinmain int API entry. That feels like a specific keyword, and then that's supposed to be the name of this function. So what we might do is, I wonder if that function name has to be that or whether it can be absolutely anything. It's got the API entry flag on it. I'm just going to experiment here. I'm going to come back to my code and I'm going to call this arbitrary. And we'll just see if that makes it happy. So back to here, I'll do a build clean. I'll try to build again. So next error, undeclared identifier. Now this is referring to that Windows Project 1 issue I was talking about. So all of these are referenced assuming that the Visual Studio project is called Windows Project 1. So I probably need to go into my app and replace any instance that refers to that to actually what I've called my project. So I'll come back to the code. Let's see, Windows Project 1. I only want the bit that actually says that language. Then I'll change all occurrences in my instance of Visual Studio Code here and change that to underscore Klutz mini app. So that should have fixed things across the app. We might have a look around in a minute and double check, but we'll see how that goes for the moment, see if that's resolved those issues for us. Again, clean and rebuild. Okay, that error seems to have disappeared. What do we got next? Line 98. Line 98. Doesn't like the end of this function. Let's see, we've got to return. Well, these closed out, right? Oh yes, I need to fix this one. Dave actually called this out in an annotation in the video to fix that. And what else did we have? Oh yes, this here. This wasn't really called out in the video, but it looks like a typo where he's just done 2 more opening brackets instead of 2 closing brackets. So that seems to have fixed that. We'll save and we'll just see if this will build now. Nope, so we've got some more errors. Okay, undeclared identifier. Actually, I've got a few of those. If I've got it in a few places, it might be where I've actually declared it the first time. So that's 77. It's here. Oh, and I've declared it right here, and I've forgotten to capitalize. That's probably been a typo on my part when working through the video. Okay, so that should fix those issues. So we'll clean and build. Okay, so that's fixed. Well, looks like I've got another typo here. That's on 125 and 125 down here. Let's see. Play palm. I think I've meant to do that. El param. And then the final step here, if I go to, let's see, def window proc. Let's have a look over in the code base over here. Def window proc, that's supposed to be in uppercase D. So that again, it's probably been a typo on my part. So we'll clean build and build again. It's close. It's having an issue invoking the main. I have a feeling that's probably because of the way I've named that function. So I'll grab the proper name for that particular function. And I've just totally not shown any of that to you at all. Well done, Clint. Here we go. So here we go. Error invoking the main function. So it looks like the name of that function can't be arbitrary. That does need to be that win main. So in a typical C application, you'll have a main function that is the main entry point to your application. In this case, this is a Windows main. That makes some sense. Okay, so we should be able to save that now, and I'll come, and I've just not shown you the code again. I'm doing really well. So I just replace that arbitrary function name with win-main. So come back across to the screen. Here we go. Do a clean build again. And this time it appears to have built out successfully with no warnings, no errors. I'll go and reopen the folder here. That must be my source folder. Here we go. Yep, that's in the correct folder, and it's got the debug folder where it's built out the application, and I'll execute it, and there's the tiny app off to the races and running with all the functionality in place and all behaving properly. Okay, well, there we go. That was debugging the issues I had building the tiny Windows application from Dave's Garage. I hope that's helpful for some. For others, yeah, oh well. Righto. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you later.